Yeah. Whew, boy, it is so hot. What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. Gonna pop one. Man. Been a busy weekend. Kind of a busy day. A little hot. I think I'll get a tire replaced. So I guess I don't know. I had a wrestling event on Sunday, right? I pull up to the convention center, and I noticed my car was like, "Yo, something wrong with your tire?" I was like, "What?" And it only had like 25 psi. It's supposed to be like 35. I was like, "That's not good. I'm already here. It's Sunday. Tomorrow's Memorial Day. I can't deal with it anyway." So after the show, it goes like down to 21 psi. I'm like, all right, it's a slow leak. There was some air in it. Turned out Walmart was open on Monday. So I went there to see if they could patch it. They were like, "No, you got a nail too close to the wall." Like, well, it's Memorial Day, so I'm not getting no tire shop. And if I was gonna buy a new tire, I don't think I wanted to be from Walmart. So I was like, you know what, I'll just take her back home. I took her back home today, knowing that today I had to go find a tire shop. And I thought it was just gonna keep holding air, but today it was like, yeah, we're not holding air no more. So when I left the driveway, it said 31. When I get to the stop sign, it says 18, and then I get down the street, it says 11. So I like pull over. There's some redneck Billy Bad A wears around like he was offended that I pulled over, and he got out of his truck like he wanted to fight me. So he pulled over. He walked up to my car. Ah, dang it, dude! I literally in my head I was like, dude, I gotta stream at 1:30 and it's like 11. Like, whatever. I get out ready to do whatever. And I'm not saying it's cause I'm bigger than him, but then he was like, "Oh, my bad, I didn't see you got a flat." Okay. Then I go to a tire shop and they're like, they didn't have the tire. Now I'm literally on flat. Somehow in this guy, like connected parking lot was another tire shop. They had it. I think they okey doked me on the price, but I was like, whatever, dude, just put a new tire on it. Let's go. It's so hot out here and humid, but we made it back in time. Talk about baseball. We got lots of baseball, and I wanted to stop and get a Ghost, but I ran out of time, so it just got delivered. But here we are. What up, Cujo? What up, Andy? What up, Rob? Hope y'all are doing all right. What up, Justin? We got all of the games tonight. We got a pre-slate and a main slate. We're gonna go game by game here, see what we can come up with for a player pool, and digest what's coming our way. So hope you guys had a good Memorial Day weekend, a good weekend so far, a good Tuesday. Spreadsheet's ready to go, right? Yeah, we got everything set up. We just need to throw some run totals, some pitcher projections, and be on about our merry way. So let's start with our 4-game pre-slate. 6:10 p.m. Eastern, that's 5:10 Central. We got the Dodgers playing the Guardians. Both lineups are confirmed. We got Ohtani, Mookie, Freddie, Teoscar, Max Muncy, Andy Pages, Michael Conforto, Dalton Rushing, and Tommy Edman as projected, up against Stephen Kwan, Bo Naylor, J-Ram, Manzardo, Santana, Daniel Schneemann batting 6th, Gabriel Arias batting 7th, Nolan Jones batting 8th, and Angel Martinez. So green light both of those lineups. We get a run total of 4.8 for the Dodgers, 4.4 for the Guardians. Dustin May, taking on Tanner Bybee. 23% K rate for May so far. 9.4 on the swing and strike rate. $1.25 on the whip, and a 4.5 expected ERA. Usable in the right spots on a 4-game slate. It's a anemic Guardians offense. We've seen some high upside performances. Tariq Skubal is not quite Dustin May, but something that comes to mind. With Dustin May and with this lineup, we could look at his lefty splits with a higher intensity, right? Just Gabriel Arias batting from the right side for the Guardians. So you look at Dustin May's splits, he's actually striking out lefties at a 1-4 clip, a 204 average allowed, a 309 xFIP, and a 0.88 home run per 9. So he's kind of played reverse split so far. Is that sustainable? Is that going to be who Dustin May is? Maybe. He struck out lefties at a higher clip in 2023 as well, in about the same sample size. So it's what we have to go off of. And you look at the other options on this 4-game early slate, we do get some high upper echelon names, right? Logan Webb, Spencer Strider, Ranger Suarez, Zach Flaherty, all guys that have 30 fantasy point potential in themselves. The matchups are maybe not the greatest, but there's a case to be made for May and his splits. But with May, we're also worried about his pitch count, 88, 95, 88, 97. That's a good sign. Has gotten 2 6 innings, 2 of his last 3 games, and kind of flirted with it in a couple games prior. So I would say points per dollar on the table. I think Dustin May is clickable because of this matchup. But in a 4-game slate versus what else is on the shelf, I wouldn't be super enamored with it. But I think we like him enough to put him in the ranking here. But we're gonna go Dodgers offense first, obviously, then Dustin May. Tanner Bybee, 18% K rate. You did your thing, dog. That's gonna be a no for me. If you don't present at least some strikeout upside, there's really not a risk reward here that balances out me wanting to invest in. So yeah, Dodgers, May. That's how I'm shaking this one out. Let's get a pitcher projection here. So with Dustin May, give him a little bit of credence here for the K rate to left. I think the 23 is flat. I think that we Bybee, so 18 K rate. Block rate for May in this spot. It is so hot. So freaking hot. Go 8%. Maybe. Pull it. Books. What up, Pojen? All right, dude. You know, I was thinking about the other day. I have a couple friends that moved to Colorado, Pojen. And you guys know I'm clean as a whistle. I don't partake in alcohol or anything else. But I guess Texas has done something where marijuana was never legalized, but like the CBD, THC, whatever stuff you can get away with, and like edibles and stuff, whatever they sell at the smoke shop, there's like a bill going strongly to outlaw that crap, that stuff. I got even more friends like, I'm moving to Colorado. I don't know. I thought Texas was going the other way here, but I think the government stay out of my business state wouldn't be so government in our business state. It's like, yeah, you can have guns, you can do whatever. We don't even need to ID you unless we suspect, blah, blah, blah. No taxes, none of that. Oh, but you can't get high. And also, I'll tell you what to do. It doesn't affect me, but it's like it's always funny that Texas kind of has this rodeo, anything goes reputation. Go with betting or outs. Bybee's at 7.5. Really? Jeez, that's. Next up on this 4-game early, we got the Cardinals and the Orioles. Andre Payante taking on Tomoyuki Sugano-san. Pretty even on the Run line here, Cardinals slight favorite. 4.7 is our run total for the Cardinals. For the Orioles, we got a 4.5. Cardinals, you get the park boost going from Busch to Oriole Park at Camden Yards. More so for their lefties. And one of the things I think I noticed earlier was the lefties had a fun opportunity in the bomb detector to be valuable. What I mean by that, for instance, we take a look at Brendan Donovan, right? Brendan Donovan's batting third. Yeah, 152 ISO, whatever. 833 OPS, okay. Remember, half of his games are in Busch. Now you put him in a Orioles park that is a boost for lefty power. Against Sagano, a 1.71 home run per 9 to lefties. And the line on him when I uploaded the odds was 527, or excuse me, 900. And the spreadsheet's like, yo, a fair odds might actually be like 527. Meaning there's a discrepancy in the spreadsheet probability versus the Vegas odds. And usually you got to pay taxes, right? Aaron Judge, we put a fair odds at 424. You're paying 150, right? And that's just negative. I would never bet that. But you're actually getting a little bit of value out of Brendan Donovan in the eyes of our formula, and Alec Burleson, batting first and third, a little bit of pop and a pitcher that does allow power to lefties. So something to keep in mind here if you guys are looking for some longer odd home run props. I would look at Donovan, and actually Burleson's not bad. Why did I say that? Brendan Donovan. Donovan looks most interesting. We put him at a 16% probability. They're charging you more like a. So, something to keep in mind. If you want to put a chip in a chair, a dollop of Daisy. Donovan could be. Dollop of. We'll do our pitcher projection here. Payante. And I don't have anything on either. One up. Toronto been better as of late. 6 innings in 4 straight games. Got the Brewers, the Twins, the Angels, and the Royals. I'm gonna give him 17.5 on his votes. Ante. .2, 7.1. So I'm gonna give him. And that's the thing with contact pitchers. They're not getting shelled. Tend to go deeper because they're not using as many pitches. Strikeout guys. Typically, sometimes you get weird combos. Like, for instance, Payante does have a walk problem with. No. That government's so effed that needs new revenue streams. Yeah, man, I never talk politics, or and none of this benefits or hurts me as far as the way I live my life. But from the history lessons I had, they outlawed alcohol, right? Prohibition. The way I was taught was that the underground alcohol stuff was so popular that they were just like, dude, let's just legalize it and make money. So I've always felt you're gonna legalize something that messes with people's mentals, and let's be honest, there's a lot of damage to the world every day. You're gonna let that be legal. Problem with, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't help me, doesn't hurt me, I don't do it. It just feels like a double standard from where I'm sitting. All right, we're gonna go Giants and Tigers. Giants have a 3.9 run total. Tigers 0.8. Logan Webb taking on Jack Flaherty in Comerica. So pitching is at a premium in this game. You get 2 of the best in the league, or leagues. With the NL and AL being represented. and you get a pretty plus park to take advantage of. So Logan Webb, Jack Flaherty, both guys want to in our player pool. By the way, didn't really make a same game ranking here, but this seems like the more obvious spot to grab bats when you look at all these games and the pitchers on the bump. Other than the Dodgers, this seems like the game with the two weakest the Orioles game seems like the game with the two weakest pitchers. So gotta put that in the single game ranking. Logan Webb, let's go with a 27% K rate. Him for Flaherty. 9. Great for Webb. He had a 30. The outs for this game, 18. I just want to give them both 18. So that I'm gonna go 2.5. Little Q. Colorado legalized sports betting water issues. I mean, yeah, I'm not a politician. I know some states tax cigarettes even more than others, right? Got issues. People in products that can be taxed, legalized, and decriminalized, which I guess prison is a big business. I know. Either they should work there. All the boom of private prisons. Life is so precious. Locked up for self-use, whatever. You know what I mean? One thing, you're getting other people effed up. Feeling what you're saying, you know what you're doing. I don't know. Don't get me started on it. Crazy world. Spencer Strider taking on Ranger Suarez. We got the Atlanta Braves taking on Philadelphia Phillies. This is your main event of the 4-game early slate. This Braves offense is getting a little longer, a little bit more fun with the return of Ronald Acuna, who wasted no time to start swinging a hot stick against the Phillies offense coming back from the West Side, back at home in Citizens Bank. A little NL East rivalry, and this is two of the teams to watch for in the National League, especially the National League East. I keep saying, my buddy Chronic asked me the other night, he's like, "Yo, Gun, should I actually be excited about the Tigers?" I was like, yes and no. I was like, I don't think it's a fluke that they're a top win-loss record in baseball, because the American League sucks. It just does. The National League is just stacked, and the NL West and the NL East are just like, before the season started, I was like, that's the two divisions that are crazy. As an American League baseball team fan, I'm just like, yeah, let all those teams cannibalize each other in the playoffs. Phillies, maybe Aaron Nola's lack of performance this year is a little bit, pressing, but the Phillies, the Braves, the Mets, and then you look at Dodgers, Padres, D-backs, blah, blah, blah. It's just like a crazy imbalance. Almost like 15 years ago, Eastern versus Western basketball. It kind of feels like that. So, yeah, you should be ready to watch some playoff baseball. If that's what you want to be excited for. It doesn't feel that fluky. But it's also just like such a team effort. All right, Strider. Be a second game back from the IL. 4.1 innings in the first game, 75 pitches. So was kind of try to press somebody another 10-15 in their next outing. First outing didn't go great. 4.1 innings, 6 hits, 3 strikeouts, just one and a walk, with a homer allowed, those hits allowed. So Strider gonna take some time. When Strider is at his best, he is one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. You saw he had a 37% K rate in 2023. Can we get back to that form? Hopefully for Braves fans, he can. We'll see what we saw out of the limited pitches have to work with. I don't think we're gonna get super excited because he's at least limited or implied limitation on his pitch count against a good team in a tough ballpark. But it is something to keep an eye on, right? So first and foremost, his velocity, 24, 96.3. This season, he was over a mile per hour less per average than his slider this season, 83.8. Last 5.3, so he's lost some zip on that. Changeup is about the same. The curveball lower. So not a ton to work with there, but I always look at velo when somebody back. And his break on his ball 2.4 inches. Oh wait, wrong. 52.9 on the vertical drop of the curveball. There's 48.3, so difference there. 3 inches of same with the other pitches. So it may take some time to get back to form. Take more than a game or two too. You kind of want to take a shot on Strider based on the price. It's a tough matchup. And if you had to rank this out, I think clearly you were going Flaherty and Webb at some version of 1 and 2, right? And then in the same game, Ranger Suarez is not off the table. 2.37 expected ERA, 0.3% K rate. Now his splits are pretty splitty. Just 2 lefties in a projected Braves lineup. Push 3.8 xFIP against righties. Against lefties, he's pretty pristine. So he might neutralize a guy like Matty Olson. His ground ball rate can kind of hold him up. So I guess what I'm trying to think is, do I have Ranger Suarez above Strider at a little cheaper in the same game? I think I'm leaning yes. I think how I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go. There's no Phillies, Braves. There's a lot of unknown with Strider. You look at the expected output on some of these pitches. 334 expected batting average on the 4-seamer. Not the same as last year, but not the same as 2020. But the slug on these 2 most used pitches pretty high. You just kind of, I just kind of need to see it. So far, we're not seeing it. So with what's probably a limited pitch count, tough matchup, tough park, gonna be last on the totem pole. Yeah, let's go spit out a projection here. Strider, give him what he's got. Suarez, we'll go walk rate for Strider. Did get a Phillies line. And do we have outs here? 14 and a half. We'll give him 15. This juice. All right, Phillies lineup looks like Bryson Stott, Turner, Bryce Harper, Herber, Alec Boehm, 5th. Two. To double check. Oh, Baltimore had a little bit of a weather. Should rain all throughout Baltimore game. Doesn't have a lean on it. If they play, they could play through light rain. That would be so. Go ahead and orange that. All right. Dodgers game got some wins out the left. That'll help your righty pull hitters. Early slate kind of annoying. What up, Heath? What up, Power? It's always about money. It's not good at crime. Real estate. Yeah, it's kind of depressing when you really stop and think about it. Syntax. What up, Heath? Hope you're doing all right. Unlock the early slate. Like I said, none of it like turns me as far as my day-to-day. But I've always just not understood what the big, as far, and especially with the double stand, you can allow one thing that is so much worse. Like, I'm sure you guys handle your alcohol, you can handle here, but every night, seeing people in my own city pull over, drinking and driving, people, the lives of it. Maybe if you don't die from drinking and driving, get addicted, get health issues, liver issues, kidney issues. We're cool. And cigarettes too, that's legal. We know the dangers. All that crap's gonna be legal. Why are we gatekeeping weed? I don't do none of it. I don't. Just like, but I just don't understand the why this and not that argument, you know? And if you can decriminalize it, now all of a sudden you don't have to impact a lot of lives, especially on something that would be more medicinal value than all this other crap that has no medicinal. It's a no-brainer. But like you guys said, we all know the dark wall, dark room, dark side of the world motivated. Okay. Moving on to the main slate. We did unlock the pitcher projections for the afternoon. Guys that have premium subs at MLB. Dodgers, Cardinals, Phillies. How this shakes out. Remember, Cardinals Orioles game would get weird. The Orioles are actually the lowest rated stack, which is kind of crazy because usually over project. But this version of the lineup against righties is pretty rough. They're missing some players. We got Gunnar Henderson, Ryan O'Hearn, Cedric Mullins, the only guys with like positive WRC pluses in this split since the beginning of last year. So finally, they don't look like the best play in the history of plays. Actually came in as the worst. Against that pretty heavy ground ball guy too. But it is what it is. The same. Donovan, pretty juicy if that game played. Long shot odds. Got not grape, Nas energy drink. I think I've tried Nas. Just so stuck on Ghost right now. Need to buy another ace of it. All right, we got the Rays and Twins. Joe Ryan taking on Taj Bradley. Twins got a 4.5 run total. Rays got a 4.2. Joe Ryan versus Taj Bradley in the single A ballpark known as Steinbrenner. We do have temps pushing 90 degrees out there. A little bit of that. The storm's very likely to stay away from the ballpark, so not even have to worry about rain out there in Tampa. But we do get at least one really good pitcher, and Taj Bradley. Boy, I thought was gonna. Maybe he'll get back to it. The Rays projected lineup almost a 22% aggregate K rate against righties since the beginning of last year. Joe Ryan so far this season 2.75 Sierra 3.18 expected ERA, keeping the bases clear, the strikeouts up 12.5% swing and strike rate. What we are worried about with Joe Ryan, especially combined with the heat in this ballpark, is he doesn't allow a lot of base runners, but he does allow a lot of power. 14.5% barrel rate, 145 home run per 9 to righties this season, 104 to lefties. So if you're playing him, understand there's a strong likelihood he's going to give us some solo shots. There's a lane of Brandon Lau, Junior Caminero, and Jonathan Aranda. I feel like one of those three guys is going to be the most likely to take a Miabo here. And if you believe in the splits, it might be Caminero, just based on the righty-lefty. But I think Lau and Aranda are the better pure hitters. Aranda best stuff. So I think we have to put Joe Ryan at the top, though, because he just had the ability to go out there and get double-digit strikeouts. It's just a tough environment. Twins against Taj Bradley. How do we feel about this? Bradley, a 1.31 on the whip, 3.47 expected ERA, and a 1.5 K rate. So more of a contact guy. And you look at his righty splits this season, 270 almost on the average allowed, a 1.5 home run per 9 against righties. So Ryan Jeffers, Ty France, Carlos Correa. How far are we from Buxton? This would certainly be a Buxton. I guess it's any day now. This would be a Byron Buxton spot where he looks juicy. Deactivate. So let's go. The Twins sub. So let's go put a project. All right, we're gonna that Bradley. Great. $17.5 on both. A little juice on the 17. Don't need projections if you know the game. Okay? You gotta know. White Sox and the Mets. That lineup is confirmed. It's looking like Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Lonzo, Brett Beatty, Patton fifth, Aaron Young, Dos, Jeff McNeely. So, in light, White Sox got a 3.1 run total. That's 5.1. Jonathan Cannon versus Tyler McGill. Their matchup, 17% K rate and change for Jonathan Cannon. 1.31 on the whip. Really struggling with power since the beginning of last year to lefties. Just kind of super average though. Like maybe less than average, but it's not like a 1.6 home run per 9 and not like a 300 average allowed. He's like exploitable, right? 258 average allowed to lefties, 111 on the home run per 9. Ground ball rates, whatever, 40%. Fly ball rates, whatever, 43%. Hard contact is below 30. The barrel rate's like below 10, but it's close enough. You know what I mean? Like he's beatable, but it's not like he's like Antonio Senzatella, right? So he's gonna get lucky sometimes. In this spot, the Mets are gonna look pretty good. White Sox bullpen, very beatable. 4.61 bullpen ERA, 1.41 bullpen WHIP. Obviously, bullpen stats like that are so volatile. And that's why we use the bullpen usage chart presented over here. It would be grind. But it gives you a loose idea. And looking at who might be available today, I don't think Bryce Wilson would be ready yet. Maybe Miguel Castro. Maybe Mike Facil. Wouldn't see Cam Boozer. Maybe Jordan Lee. So a couple of guys that are like, I guess Jared Schuster would be the most likely. Got a 4+ xFIP to lefties, 5+ xFIP to righties, over 1 home run per 9 to lefties. That's who else might? Maybe Mike Foss. Got a 5.55 xFIP to lefties, almost a 2 home run per 9. How much you want? 4.29 xFIP to righties, 0.7. So looks like. Sorry, that was Bryce Wilson. Vossel's not much better though. 1.64 home run per 9 to lefties. Not striking him out. 6.25 on the end. So that bullpen, as bad as it is probably worse today based on who's available. So that spat's looking pretty good up there in Citi Field. Actually, they might be second to Megal though. Megal is pretty solid. So Gil, that's McGill, by the way, 31% K rate for him this season, 1.35 on the whip, 3.64 expected ERA. His whip is being inflated, it looks like, from a little bit of a walk problem. 9% to righties, 13% to lefties. 2.55 average allowed, you know, not the best, not the worst. But this is a pretty low OBP White Sox team. They do draw walks, an 11% aggregate walk rate. And outside of Benintendi, Luis Robert, and Lennon Sosa, a lot of double-digit. It's not like Megal has a free pass to not waste pitches. Something to keep in mind, but I do think the team sucks enough that I'm in on McGill, and Mets offensively should be able to get to Cannon. That bullpen isn't. Let's go pull the pitcher projection here. Cannon, I'm gonna. I'm gonna get one. Actually, his splits 25 to lefties, 30. Pretty half and half. We'll stick with that. And then right here, smooth 7%. Bill. 15. Might switch our order here. Almost 9K for McGill. All right, here's what I'm looking at that's got me concerned. As far as the ranking goes, he's gonna be in the pool. Do we rank the Mets stack as a higher priority? McGill, Boston Yankees, that's a tough 3-game stretch. I guess what I'm worried about right now is in white. Even against a team like them, I guess. I think price-wise, I'm a little less than enthusiastic to get to 9K. If these walk rates, like I said, they don't even have to get on base, but the walk rates indicate that they might take some pitches, stress that pitch count, and we haven't really seen McGill make it a habit to go. So I'm gonna go Mets and then McGill in the ring. And with a 15.5 out projection, giving me almost 6Ks, 5.81, a 1.71 walk rate. Is there a 1.5 walk prop? See people insta like thinking maybe. That's one. Wait, 1.5 is the boost, and then 2.5. What are you gonna do? All right, that's that game. Take it out. Moving on to the Red Sox and Brewers. It fits. His offense has a 4.2 run total. Aaron Savali is in the league. Okay. 18.6% K rate for Fitz so far this season. It's not been good. And then I think he got injured. Savali, a 15% K rate, 157 on the whip, 7.48 expected ERA. We are talking to the levels at here. Couple of games to start the season. Not last. And I think he's just filling in, right? He's up to get us by on all season perhaps. Lean more on what he did last year. He still sucked. Then with Fitz long. Can't really expect him to. Oh man, I've pitched bad pitchers against the Brewers, but they don't strike out a ton. But I think this would be an offense. Red Sox, Brewers. It's give Savali his 18. A walk rate. I'm go 14 and 14. We're not gonna pitch him. Gives me a good enough projection unless we get one from the books later. Still way in the bullpen. Both bullpens are beatable, but especially the Brewers. So it looks like a better spot for the Red Sox. 4.2 run total. Feels a little light too. Savali, looking at the last 3 years, aggregate 24.5% line drive rate. Heavy hard contact rate allowed, and a lot of homers allowed to both sides of the plate. I mean, this is, I know Alex Bregman's hurt, but I mean, this is Duran, Devers. Meyer kid might get into one. Pretty cheap on both sides after. At 271 with an 818 OPS before up 9. Red Sox look like a really good spot here. I don't know. I'm a little bit perplexed by this run total. It's not like 4.5 to 5. Probably wasn't. I don't know. I feel like I would face the run a little bit. On Red Sox, Brewers. That's all I got to say about that. What up, hey yo? Right, every time I like Barry Windham, give myself a pat. Royals and the Reds. Royals lineup is confirmed. Jonathan India, Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquantino, Salvi, Michael Garcia, Drew Waters, John Rave, incredible name by the way. Massey. Does Rave have a different name? Reds with a 4 run total. 4.2 for the Royals. Here, rain is in the process of clearing KC today. Maybe a lingering shower early, but they played yesterday in 3 hours of nonstop rain. Brady Singer taking on Daniel Lynch. I do believe Brady Singer be a Roy. Or get the freak. Daniel Lynch the fourth. There was 3 other ones. Singer, a 21% K rate so far this season, a 12% barrel rate. His strikeouts are being carried by his called strike rate, which is fine, who he is. And he does get the benefit of Kaufman, but he has a 4.6 plus aggregate expected ERA the last 3 seasons. Less than impressive K rate against a team that just doesn't strike out. The only reason why this K rate is what it is that John Rave is getting a baseline projection based on lack of sample size, and Drew Waters is at 27%. Everybody else is 20% or less, and there's a lot of less. So, not playing Singer for strikeouts typically anyway, but especially today. You do get the benefit of Kaufman. It's not like the Royals are likely to drop 8 here, but what does an 11-game slate, Brady Singer 7,500 plus a game look like in this grand scheme of optimal? For me personally, if you feel different, go with your gut. For me personally, it's probably not something that's the absolute stone cold nuts. I don't think I get to Singer. Then Daniel Lynch, just a 12.5% K rate for him, facing a Reds offense that there are some lefty matchers, right? Espinal, Austin Hayes, Tyler Stevenson, and then Ellie De La Cruz. You know, obviously against righties is his better split, but he's just such a dangerous guy anyway. If he accidentally gets on, that I'm just probably away from pitching, despite it being a good pitching park. And we'll let the rain or whatever be a catalyst into being less optimistic to get to pitching here. So with that said, I almost don't want to rank anything here, but I could see a couple Red stacks, a couple Royal stacks, especially with this Reds bullpen being beatable, and it would be a low yielded sleep spot for the Royals to kind of come through. But the thing with Singers, you know, it's a pretty decent ground ball guy. He's not really gonna allow a ton of power, especially to righties. Maybe a Pasquantino swing is something you want off. Looking at that 1 through 4, for the most part, like I think I could do without. Like if I was running 20 or less lineups, the game just kind of exists, and I'm hoping, you know, we're not getting 4 homers from one side here, and that's kind of in the DNA of these pitchers. Maybe Daniel Lynch in 23 innings so far. His righty splits catch up to him the last 3 years as far as power, right? 2023, 1.7 homer per 9. Last year, 1.82. And you look at this season, the strikeout rate went down, and the batted ball data, yeah, I guess the hard contact rate is down, the fly ball rate is down. But I guess, you know, it's still live to catch up. But like maybe Austin Hayes. Wait, this is all bullpen stuff? Guys, did I just... He's just like a 1-inning starter. As though he's unlikely to reach the 5 innings he would. They go 40 pitches. All right. All right. That's it. More. Who might back him up? It's kind of rough here. I guess Jonathan Bolin. That actually might be advantage Ellie. Ellie doesn't have to see a lefty too much off the rip. Urpa pitched yesterday. Don't see much back. It's like John Schreiber, Jonathan Bolin, Taylor Clark, Knicks. So we get to righties pretty fast. Because the other two lefties in the pen pitched yesterday, Urpa and Fisk. So Ellie might get his positive platoon in his second at bat if it doesn't go. I mean, maybe he can make it. Means we're not pitching. All right, we'll do a pitching projection. Singer, they got 17 outs for him. For Lynch, let's two threes. Half for 6. We'll go 6.5. 1% rate. Not really. Oh, so hot. Oh, like the other side of the. Ooh. My boy Stuart Scott. Bartender. Jack. Saw an Orioles lineup come out, so I'm gonna get that going. Holiday, Ramon Urias, Mountcastle, Hearn, Dylan Carlson, Jorge Mateo, Chadwick Trump, a former Giant great. I think this lineup got worse, right? No Mullins. God dang, this lineup sucks. It's Mountcastle and O'Hearn with positive WRC plus. Or no, excuse me, Henderson and O'Hearn. My eyes old. And I think Holiday's coming around, so memory on this is going to the beginning of last. So those are the three guys for me. Then we had a Cunha, Austin Riley, Zuna, Olsen, Ozzy, John Murphy in the lineup today. Eli White, Michael Harris, second. All right, let's get back to the main slate. Yeah, what up, RC? Texas got yeah, Travis, it's bad, dude. I was telling at the top of the stream I had to go get a tire change. While they're changing it, you know, it's a little corner run of the mill. It's just a shop. They didn't have no seat. It wasn't inside. I stood outside and I wore a hoodie just you know. I was busting a sweat. Only gonna get worse, right? Dude, I think why it sucks so bad is so freaking humid. It's been raining yesterday, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow. It actually dropped 10 degrees since the storm yesterday. We were in the 90s to start the weekend. It's the humidity that makes you sweat in places you don't want to sweat. Go Rockies and the Cubs. Ramon Marquez taking on Cade Horton. We do have a Rockies lineup. I think the Rockies don't care. The skipper is just like, got it. They're like, they used to be one of the worst at getting us lineups, and now they're like always for. Yeah, we know. It's them. Nothing's changed. Rockies lineup. 2.8 is your run total for the Rockies. 5 for the Cubs. Cade Horton has a 4.2 Sierra, a 1.4 whip, a 16% K rate. Kind of like a Wrigley wind in game. It's less than 60 degrees. But you take these metrics, especially against lefties, and the team against him has a sub 3 run total. I mean, that's tough business right there. 11% swing and strike rate. So here's what I will say: 11% swing and strike rate usually is not consistent with a 16% K rate. There might be some strikeouts hidden in Cade Horton in a small sample in the major league. Let's go look at his minor league numbers. 151.2 innings in the minors, 190 Ks. Absolutely not living up to his strikeout potential. Well over 1 per inning. This year in the minors, 29 innings, 33 Ks. So yes, he is definitely probably gonna look under projected. Miami, White Sox, and Mets. So I don't know. I mean, the White Sox and Mets, strikeouts should have been there, but I'm not gonna give up on them. Really looks like, and it's the Rockies, so that certainly helps. But we should. I don't know if expected K percentage is something some nerd is cooking up, but man, that would be great. But yeah, 30% whiff rate on a sweeper, 33% on the curve, 28% on the changeup that he's thrown 24 times. He's just not missing with the fastball. And that's, I think, created this anomalic output, I'll say. I think when I run the projection, I'm going to give him a 5%. Maybe a 22. I mean, what, 33 would be 1 per inning? I think 25 is fair. But I also, I don't often co-sign giving somebody credit for something they haven't done in the majors. He's clearly a strikeout guy. Come in, freaking. So 10 and a quarter K per 9 in the minors this year. Last year, 10.4. Almost a 10. If I give him 25%, that would be less than his aggregate last year. We'll go 23 now. I feel like 25 is the. So I'm gonna forgive his because we're still missing bats in the. Yeah. How are we doing on pitches? 82 pitches, dude. I just looked at it, but I meant from the other side. You know what I meant. Fire. Rockies just suck. All right. Going. I don't think I'd go more Horton. The price looks. But that's how we're shaking it. Horton and not pitching Marquez. And even if there's a fire. So Marquez will go 12% K rate. I'm going 25%. And it might be undercutting him, but that's what we're doing. That's going to give him an aggregate 26% K rate. Based on match. Right here. 19. All right. With that said, what is a Cade Horton? Six. I get almost 7. And I felt like I left some on the table for it. So maybe some reason to go take that 6.5 demon, whatever that is. Also out there in Wrigley, we do got blowing in. It's chilly. When he's 2 beast towels, I literally have 2 beast towels, but they're custom. They gun show on it. It's the ones that I wear to the. Got a couple embroidered. If I know I'm only gonna be out, like if I'm outside of the car for whatever, I don't need a beach towel. But I know I'm gonna be in the wilderness. What's up, Don? A pitcher's question? What you got, bro? You can't say any question, bro. You don't have to ask a question if you can ask a question. You know, raise your hand. You know what I mean? Don, and the chords one. Why you get that going? I do believe I saw it. Ready. Cardinals lineup came out. Yeah. Nootbaugh. Jason Wynn, Donovan, Ferris, Yvonne, Renato, Alec Burleson, Foreman. A little different. Lineup is out. Mike Kremsky, Elliot Ramos, Vilma, Flores, E. Chapman. It. From Josh, every time I play chalk, it fails. Every time you change when that keeps for us to process. Dumb as it sounds, baseball is a process-driven sport. It almost doesn't matter what your process is. One day it's gonna hit. It could be BVP and hot streaks. One day it's gonna hit. Flipping that coin. Heads 5 times in a row. Gonna bet heads 6 times instead of tails. Nah, it is, snowball or a snowflake, right? Every situation is different. I know yesterday was kind of a really low scoring overall day, even though pre-flop less than stellar pitching. A solid. The Tower of Power. My mic keeps going in and out. Might have a noise gate that's wrong. Yeah, fix my noise. Because when the air kicks on. So open threshold. Let's go. Yo. All right. How about that? We got it at 44. I think this is good. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, stop. 1, 2, 3, stop. I think the noise gate was a little too strict. But if that sounds better, we're good. That's a good call out, dude. Anytime there's something like that, y'all, the music's too loud, my mic isn't right, let me know, bro. Like, don't feel like you're calling me out or I want that stuff fixed. In the Detroit Dodgers game, both pitchers in the Detroit Dodgers game, do both pitchers reach 3 Ks? Does Cannon reach 2 strikeouts? Does Cannon get 2 strikeouts from the whole game? In the Detroit Dodgers game, do both pitchers reach? Okay, all right. First of all, the Dodgers are facing the Guardians. So I don't know if you mean the Dodgers, does Dustin May and Jack Flaherty? I need a little clarification, Don. The whole game for Cannon. Oh, okay. So, I can tell you what I got for Cannon as far as strikeouts. Well, one, I would say Cannon, or not Cannon. What are we asking for Cannon? Both pitchers from Detroit game. Oh, I see. What was the Dodgers about? Okay, all right. I think I'm putting it together here. So. The Dodgers game does nothing. Pitchers reach 3K. Okay, let me answer what I think the question is. Can both pitchers in the Dodgers game 3K? Well, I'll say one. I think Dustin May, yes. Dustin May, if you focus on his lefty splits, has a 1-4 K rate against a lot of lefties, right? Only one righty in that lineup. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 strikeout prone lefties, and then he might steal one from one of these other guys. So if you give him 5 or 6 innings, you don't even need a strikeout per inning to get to 3. So I would say yes, I would absolutely lean that. And the projection we have for him is 5.5. Inversely, if you're asking can Tanner Bybee get 3 Ks, I'm less excited about that outcome, but it's absolutely a range outcome. The Dodgers lineup has a 21.3% K rate. We get an 18, so our projection for him was 5.3. So I would say yes to getting over 3. And then you're asking about Cannon. Does Jonathan Cannon get 2 strikeouts? And this is for the full game, right? This is not like first inning, right? If that's the question, I would also lean yes, but it's not as sexy. I got Cannon right now for 4.87 Ks based on a 15.5 out projection and a 20% aggregate K rate, meaning you take Cannon's 18% K rate versus the 22.5% aggregate K rate of the Tigers, and about 20% of their outs are projected to come from strikeouts. So, yes. Are you like parlaying alt lines? If you're alt lining the 3 pitchers at 3, the projections say yes. No problem. Okay, where are we at? Let's keep it moving. We do have some more lineups out for the main slate, but it's really just the early slate I want to prioritize updating for the subscribers. So let's move on to the Rangers game. We got this projection there, right? Yeah, we'll go Blue Jays and the Rangers. Next up, we got Bowden Francis taking on Nate Eovaldi. The Blue Jays have a 3.8 run total. The Rangers have a 4.4. Francis with an 18% K rate on the season, a 1.41 on the whip, a 12% barrel rate. A lot of diminished numbers that you don't want to see if you're a Blue Jays fan versus what we saw last year, right? The home run per 9 has spiked. The barrel rate has gone up. The fly ball rate has gone down, but the line drive rate is the difference maker. So it's not like he's losing fly ball rate and gaining ground ball rate. He's losing fly ball rate and gaining line drive rate, which is worse. So he's attackable. Now, with that said, you get the Rangers offense, which has been anemic to say the least on the season. Despite them musical chairing their lineup, without Corey Seager, it just doesn't look good. Sam Haggerty, Wyatt Langford, Josh Young, a couple names that spike, a 200 plus ISO from Jake Berger. Any which way you slice it, you're never going to feel confident. You're never going to feel warm and fuzzy on getting behind Rangers stack. So it'd probably be a cherry pick, maybe a substack situation. Eovaldi, much like DeGrom, has been so good for them, and you just hate to see these elite pitching performances get wasted. And that might be something that you see today with Eovaldi. There's a 27.5% K rate on the season, 13% swing and strike rate, expected ERA of 3.21, an actual ERA of 1.6, and he's a trooper. He'll be out there going deep. The flip side for Eovaldi's matchup today is this is a really tough strikeout matchup. Matter of fact, just Dalton Varsho has a strikeout rate worth mentioning. Addison Barger, 22.6% K rate, is the second highest in this projected lineup against righties since the beginning of last year. Even with those two considered, you're striking an aggregate 17.3% K rate, which is likely the lowest on the slate. And if we look at the season, like we take the memory from the beginning of last season and just put it to the beginning of this season, the Blue Jays have the second lowest K rate against righties. So Eovaldi is going to have to work, and he's a good pitcher. There are some pitchers that when they push 30%, they're in a different tier and they'll get strikeouts on anybody. But the matchup is certainly not a pre-flop ceiling matchup for Eovaldi. So this is kind of a tough spot to get to. I think the respect I got for Eovaldi, he's still in the pool, but obviously have tapered expectations, and he's not likely to hit the ceiling at the same probability rate of a more average matchup. But the Blue Jays have just a 3.8 run total. So if he doesn't have to waste 5-6 pitches per at bat to get strikeouts, and we see Blue Jays ground out a little bit more, and we got a 60% ground ball rate for Eovaldi, with the losing strikeouts, you might actually gain in outs, which might be a plus for like Fanduel. And we've seen Eovaldi throw complete games this year, right? So if he's got unhittable stuff, even if it ain't strikeout worthy, it's not necessarily a bad thing all the time for a guy to not be in a spot to get strikeouts if we know he still has like 100+ pitch count and can ground ball his way through a game. So I guess what I'm saying is Eovaldi's on the table, but in a different way than usual. So I'm in on Eovaldi, but it may not be a 10 strikeout spot. We're probably hoping for like 7-8 innings. Probably get to him a little bit more on Fanduel because of that. But he's not off the table here because we haven't really talked pitching with a lot of confidence at all so far. Francis, we're going to give him an 18.5% K rate. Eovaldi, we're going to go 27.6. Show me potato salad. 7.8 there. Eovaldi. Let's go 4. Let's get some outs here. Got him at 18. 16.5. And I'm gonna give him 2.5 towards the QS. We'll go from there. What up, Tall? You're Soaring has been down lately. No more juice balls. My boy Nicreasy, I haven't seen him rage tweet on Twitter. There's a theory in motion. I have no quantifiable evidence. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. It has come on my timeline. People complaining that sometimes we get a different batch of balls. But yes, yesterday was pretty low scoring. And it seems like some days we got some lead balls and some days we got some balls jumping off the bat. I don't know. But what I would say is when we had a discrepancy on baseballs in the past, pitchers talked about it. I think Verlander was pretty open about feeling a difference in base. Like, pitchers know what a baseball is supposed to feel like. So I would say if there is something with the baseballs, I don't think it would be only from fan speculation. I feel like a pitcher somewhere is gonna say something. But I guess if it's the lead balls, they won't. I don't know. I feel like we'd hear some more chirping from the inside. Athletics and the Astros. Hunter Brown taking on JP Sears. 5-run total for the Astros. Just a 3.2 for the Athletics. Hunter Brown, one of the best pitchers in the game. He's coming off a really, really rough outing. Was it against the Rays? Yeah, against the Rays. And I remember that game pretty well. It was pretty doggone hot. I think it was a little windy too in Tampa. And I want to say in that game, see if I could find it. That's the game that Hunter Brown had a homer that was 320 feet with an expected batting average of 0.10.
Oh, you can see the reaction from Brown. And now Brandon Lau.
Like, off the bat, Brandon Lau, he kind of just puts his head down and jogs. Like, that's a routine pop-up, right?
For Brown. And now Brandon Lau.
He's like, dang.
And that's
and the ball just kept going.
And it's still going back.
So it was like 90 degrees and windy. So I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, Hunter Brown's coming off a tough game. But I do think there were some environmental circumstances that didn't do him any favors. He's back home at Minute Maid, where they can control the controllables like that. He's facing an Athletics team that has a 21.69% aggregate K rate since the beginning of last year. Nick Kurtz, I saw, got put on the IL, so that actually might help their K rate, depending on what they end up putting in that spot. Please don't call back up Max Muncy, please. Let's see, Wilson, Soderstrom, Rooker, Langoliers, Andujar, Logan Davidson. And then JP Sears on the bump here for the Athletics, a sub 19% K rate, 4.15 expected ERA, a lot of power allowed to both sides of the plate, letting the ball in the air as well. He could really hyper focus his righty splits, as Astros will come out likely 9 deep in the right-handed hitter department. The home run per 9 might be a little bit juiced because of the home park, but also no, because home park, you know, the Coliseum last year was 1.5 too. So Crawford boxes might not be a plus for him. Just out of curiosity, JP Sears, if he threw all of his games in Minute Maid, what would the homers look like? AL West. He went 9. So would lose 1. He actually would have gained 1 if he had threw more in Sutter Health. So let's go Hunter Brown. Let's go Astros as our in-game ranking. OPSs get pretty high here. Altuve still has a memory from last year at 900 plus. This year has been a little less fun, but has he at least been decent against lefties? That's been kind of his historical favorable split. He is not. In 20 at-bats against lefties, we've got 1 double. But 4 strikeouts, so he's putting the ball in play. So he might look better in the projections than he has been swinging this season. Christian Walker, Yainer Diaz, a couple interesting names, but that's how we're going to shake this out. We're going to go Brown, Astros, and that's all I got. So let's go put a projection in. Let's go 18.7% for Sears. For Brown, we'll go 30. Walk rate for Hunter Brown, 6.5. Outs, 18 and 16 and a half. And I'm going to give him 3 towards a QS. And we're good. I knew you were going to parlay because May 3+ Ks is 1,400 on Fanduel. Yeah, no, I figured he was parlaying an alt line. But if you parlay those 3 alt lines, you're probably getting what, even money? At that point, you might just single bet all 3 of those on their main overs or whatever. And if one of them hit, you know what I mean? I don't know. We try to outsmart the books. They've already got us figured out, y'all. Yankees and the Angels. Rodon taking on Tyler Anderson. The Andersons got tickets to the game? How'd they get tickets? 5.4 run total. Jesus. Oh my God, 56 is crazy. What am I doing right now? All right. 5.4. I need to lock these cells. I should never be able to F that up again. 3.8. Rodon has been so good. 31% K rate this season, 12.5% swing and strike rate, 19% call strike rate. Sub 1 on the whip. He's just been dominant. Looking like the guy they went out there and paid for, and he's stepping up in a big way. He is facing the Angels lineup, presents a lot of power, and we know Rodon can give up some homers to righties, digging back the last 2 years. This year's been a lot better, but it's still in him, right? Zach Neto, Taylor Ward, Jorge Soler, Travis d'Arnaud, and Joe Adell, all guys that present some pretty big ISO numbers against left-handed pitching. So, yeah, he's probably going to get got by 1 or 2 of those guys. But I still think, based on the pitchers on this slate, you got to look at him as likely being one of the higher scorers, right? Heavily implied for the win and heavily implied to get us a quality start. 180 on the over of 17.5. So if we put 17.5 as his outs, that implies he's going to give up 2.46 earned runs. So yeah, you get the quality start points as well, right? So let's put a projection in for these guys. Let's go 31% on Anderson. On Rodon. Let's go 18.3% on Anderson. Walk rate. Let's go 9.5. Tyler Anderson. 9. And what did we say? He was 16.5. Cool. For real. All right. Actually, I think we do get him over the Yankee stack as far as interest, but the Yankees obviously look pretty doggone good. Rodon Yankees. Yesterday, Ryan Yarbrough, the long reliever, was called upon to start, and he went out there and got 6 innings and 88 pitches with 7 Ks. So that is the Angel stat line. I think Neto homered on the first pitch, and then he just kind of settled in. And that was sorely needed because they had to go in the bullpen pretty deep the game before. But that's Angels baseball right there in a nutshell. They have a lot of power, but they can strike out. And this projected lineup has a 21.8% K rate going against a guy that's a strikeout artist. So I actually don't think the Angels are off limits. And I think if you want to get really different on an 11-game slate, I think Rodon's likely going to generate amongst the highest ownership, at least probably top 3, top 4. And it's not impossible for him to give us some bombs here. So Angels could be fun. That's how we shake that out, though. Rich Fitz started for Boston. All right, that's what I had. 4K at minus 390. Still a lot of VIG. Wait, you're still getting or you mean just single betting the 4Ks? That's your man. You get minus 390 for those props altogether. Yeah, I don't know. All lines are. I don't know. Baseball's a hard sport. Someone has to get most of his prop action on PrizePicks. They're getting them 5 and 6ers. Ain't what it used to be. It's certainly much easier in like basketball and stuff. Moving on, Marlins in the Padres. We got Max Meyer taking on Stephen Kolek. We got a 3.7 run total for the Marlins, 4.5. Meyer, 26.4% K rate on the season, 12.5% swing and strike rate. The Padres team not big on striking out, 17% essentially since the beginning of last year. We go back to that teams versus righty K rate. I think we had Royals 1, Blue Jays 2. Where were the Padres in that? Padres are bottom 5 at 19.1%. So even shortening the memory to this season, we can dumb down the K rate a little bit. And if Max Meyer's not striking you out, it's a problem because his average allowed to righties is elevated and he has a lot of power because he's a pretty slider intensive pitcher, right? Yeah, 44%. So you hang it, we bang it. 2+ grade for Tatis against the slider. Jackson Merrill's up there as well. So he's almost getting to a point where you're either with him or you're against him, yeah? Three homers against the Athletics. Base runner per inning last outing. Maybe that's a little unfair to say with him or against him, but let's go check out some stuff. Stuff plus 97, 88, 94. Look at our game log batted ball data. XFIP is favorable in the last 2 games, 496, 684, 4+ in the 3 games prior. Play discipline. So 3 of his last 5 games were single-digit swing and strike rates, including his last game against the Cubs. And in some games he goes crazy. He's kind of like unpredictable, dude. And then we get positive stuff pluses in 2 of the last 5. Location plus is nuts for the last 2 games. He's predictably unpredictable, it feels like. And it really just comes down to from game to game is, does he have it or not, right? Some days pitchers have their stuff, some days they don't. And that's kind of been the story of Max Meyer. Is his slider sliding? Look at the Rays, the White Sox, Seattle, Cincy, 2+ aggregate run value grades. But then the games that he doesn't, you hang it, we bang it. So you really don't know what you're going to get out of Max Meyer, but you do know that the Padres, not a big K team anyway. No tapered expectations. And then Stephen Kolek, a 20% K rate for him, 7.2% swing and strike rate. Both pitchers a little unremarkable. You know there's something in Meyer that you're every now and then going to get that upside game, but this seems like a really not likely spot to extract that. But I guess if he came in at like low single-digit ownership, I want to be there just in case. But I also want to be on the Padres. So, a little two sides of that one. Kolek weakness, 2+ home run per 9 so far this season, the lefties. But that seems, I don't know, I guess that with the high line drive rate, high hard contact rate, it still seems a little high based on a 4% barrel rate, 54% ground ball rate, and the fact that last year it wasn't that. So this game might be a wash for me. And I cherry pick the guys I think go crazy on Myers slider, and that would be probably Tatis, Machado, Merrill. So I'll say Pod Substack. And that's what I do. That's just what we do. We'll go 26%. Jesus, 26%. Walk rate 7. Kolek 20%. We're gonna go 8 there. Let's check out some outs. 17.5, 17.5. A little lean on both overs too. Interesting. But yeah, baseball is tough. In my opinion, DFS is easier than. I don't think that's not really an objective statement, is it? I think DFS baseball is easier than sports betting. But once you create a process, and you understand betting, if you look on Twitter, dude, there's a lot of people that really don't understand what they're doing. And I got people that I love in this community that send me screenshots all the time. And it's and it's like a 3-homer parlay with Ohtani, Judge, Schwarber. You know what I mean? Like the worst odds on the board. And I'm just like, hey man, hope it hits. You know what I mean? And it's just like I can't give math lessons to everybody. And there's people that understand probability. Whereas DFS, you can say, all right, I like these stacks, I like these pictures, put them in a blender, get lucky. You can throw a blanket over the range of outcomes in a better way. Nationals and the Mariners next up. Mitchell Parker taking on Logan Evans. 3.9 run total for the Nationals, 4.8 for the Mariners. Mitchell Parker, just a 15% K rate for him. A 10% plus walk rate to both sides of the plate. He's not allowing a lot of power this season, but I think he could still give up power. I guess the barrel rate's pretty low too. He's doing a good job missing barrels. 3.85 expected ERA. It just seems unremarkable. Like the batted ball data, like he's not super elite at one thing, except missing barrels. He's not striking you out much. He is walking you. And it's not like a 60% ground ball rate. It's basically 1-to-1 on the ground ball to fly ball ratio. And if you don't strike people out, particularly a team like the Mariners, that when you can neutralize their K rates, you tap into some crazy ISOs. Cal Raleigh, Randy Rosarena, Mitch, Dylan Moore. Is Eugenio hurt? Oh, he's just on a different team and I'm stupid. Got it. Brain fart. Yep, we did that. So, and Logan Evans kind of the same inversely. So I think I'm going offenses here. I'm going Mariners, Nationals. And Logan Evans against lefties, and this might be an all-lefty lineup. 4.61 xFIP, 17.5% carry, 289 average allowed, 25% line drive rate. Also not like getting barreled up a lot. But if you're not going to strike out James Wood, he's got almost 150 WRC plus against righties with a 235 ISO. So it's bats only for me here. Mitchell Parker with a 15% carry rate. Logan Evans, 18%. 10.5% walk rate. Logan Evans, 8. Let's get some outs. 15.5, 15.5. Yeah, plus 140. And like, I get it. You know what I mean? Those are the guys drawing enough steam. Even if you, like, when we fair odds somebody in the spreadsheet. So, like, Ohtani is probably, our fair odds is like 459. Usually our fair odds is like so much higher than most books. But, like, even if you started at that, it's going to get bet down to where they have to balance the books pretty quickly. But like Judge, Schwarber, Ohtani, 150, 260, 210, and you got them at 140. Seeing guys regularly below plus 200, and then people proudly betting a 150 homer is, it's like, man, I don't think you get it. And if you just can't explain the math every time you see somebody doing it, man, you just can't. Let me see something. There we go. All lefty. Yeah, there's a lot of switchies though, or a couple switchies, 2 switchies, and it's not confirmed, but yeah. But we also have the bottom half of this lineup is a bunch of unestablished guys. So like Robert Hassel, Dalen Lyle. Go look at Robert Hassel, 3rd MILB. In the minors, batting 288, 742 OPS, meh, 9 SBs. That might be more like a nickel and dime stack, and then Dalen Lyle. 337 average, 892 OPS with a 383 OBP. So he's also a stolen base. So these guys are like flatter and hit for average, and then when they get on, they can be aggressive. Where the Nationals at on stolen bases? Like they got to be up there. Base running value, Washington's not there. Stolen bases, Washington 7th in stolen bases. All right, got one game left on the docket. Take a pause for the cause. Remind you guys, if you want access to the spreadsheet, access to the bomb detector, the pitcher projections, the stack ratings, all that good stuff, and the game-by-game index portal, it's behind the paywall at MLBgrind.com. Premium memberships, month sub, week sub, and you can get locked in for the rest of the year as well. Over at MLBgrind.com, you'll find a link to the spreadsheet, link to the Discord. And then let me know. I was pleasantly surprised yesterday. Finally, someone told me what they subbed for. My buddy, I think it was Cage, was like, yeah, I'm mainly a PrizePicks grinder. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's literally the first person to tell me that. I've been asking. So that makes me happier to kind of work on some more prop features I've been thinking of. So yeah, if you guys want a good way to support the stream sports site, something in return, daily access to the spreadsheet. Even when I'm not streaming, we still try to get this set up for you guys as you add it to your daily repertoire of tools and process. Main event tonight, Pirates and the D-backs. We got Mike Burrows and his Pirates with a 3.6 run total up against the Diamondbacks and a 5.7 run total with Corbin Burns toeing the slab For the Snakes, 23.6% K rate, 11.6% swing and strike rate, 8.6% barrel rate. He's struggling to get lefties, to keep righties in the park. A 1.7 almost home run per nine to righties this season. This is not a powerful Pirates lineup. And when you look at righty power, it's McCutchen kind of limping in with a 744 OPS, 164 ISO. Other than that, this should be a spot for Burns to kind of be good. Let's go check out the roof status in Chase. This has certainly mattered. Looks like today it's going to be close. It might be close for the rest of the year now. It's getting pretty doggone hot, but this series projects close each game. So betting on talent here with the D-backs. In a plus matchup, a high homer per nine for Burrows, both sides of the plate. And there's not much about the Pirates pitching staff that's going to scare me away. So if you give him 4 hits, 2 walks, and 2 homers to the Brewers, who are, I know D-backs, and Brewers, you are no D-backs. I'm interested in the D-backs. With that said, let's go give Mike Burrows a peeky peek in the minors. And this season, a 2.51 ERA, 32.1 innings pitched, 41 strikeouts, with 7 starts. So the strikeouts per inning is actually pretty good. So great example of minor league stuff not transferring immediately to the majors. But his splits in the minors, higher average to righties, 1.2 whip, 20 Ks, 18 innings with 5 walks, 3 homers, 8 homers. He does look like he has a little bit of a homer problem both sides of the plate. 5 homers in 19 innings. So you're looking for like quick reference, 1 per 9, 1 per 10, right? Just like strikeouts. So he's well above that mark per inning to both sides of the plate. So low average, high homers, and high hits to righties, 17 and 18. So that 246 average with 5 walks and 3 homers definitely adds up. And you had those jitters against the Brewers. I can't imagine a good team like the D-backs letting them live much. And this is a lot of green in the D-backs. So we'll go D-backs and we'll go Corbin Burns. And that's probably flip-flopped, right? We're likely to get Burns more often than D-backs in our shakeout. But yeah. And then Burns, looking at him, 20 plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games. Good little stretch that he's on. Not much in this Pirates lineup is going to get me away from that. So yeah, let's officially flip that and let's do that. Let's go get a projection here. Let's go. I'm gonna give him an 18%, a little bit of credit for his minor league work. And I'm gonna go 23.6% for Burnsy. Let's go 10% on the walk for him, Corbin Burns. I'm gonna go 9%. And then I imagine he's at 17.5. It's 18. And then 14.5 for Burrows. 18. All right. And then let's give him 3 for QS. A little bit of win points. And this will let us unlock the main slate pitcher projection tab. Which gives us Cade Horton at the top. What? I don't even think did I give him anything towards the QS? I did not. That's just how much the Rockies suck, bro. Breaking my projections, bro. A 181 implied earned runs. Yeah, whatever, dude. We just gotta trust the numbers. Then Corbin Burns, then Joe Ryan, Rodon, Eovaldi. That's how that shakes out. Sears has a higher Fanduel projection than DK. We go to DK, we still get Horton, Ryan, Rodon, Burns, Hunter Brown, Eovaldi, Megill. So that's how we'll shake that out. Let's go to our main stack rating. Unlock that tab for you guys. Actually, select all. Let's get Detroit out of there. Giants out of there. Baltimore. STL. Dodgers. And then based on the stack rating, Yankees come in 1, Mets 2, D-backs 3. Then the Astros, Cubbies, Padres, Twins, Seattle. The Colorado, White Sox, Pittsburgh, Miami, all coming in at the bottom. No surprise there. We can go get some lineups updated. And it looks like the early slate is all in, so double check. Tigers lineup, Kerry Carpenter, Glaber, Colt Keith, Riley Green, Torkelson, Wen, Seal, Perez, Dylan Dingler, Trey Sweeney, Javi Baez, Coop, Phillies. All right, so that locks that slate, and that gives us Flaherty. No difference on the run total. A little bit there on the cards. Moving on to the main slate. Any more lineups we can get? We do. We got the Twins lineup. Larnack, Jeffers, Carlos Correa batting third. Brooks Lee. The lineup is definitely shaking up a little bit. Cody Clemens, by the way, was pretty high in the bomb detector. That in. Diaz, Lowe, Lau, Junior Caminero, Aranda, Chandler Simpson, Jose Caballero, Cameron Meisner, Ben Rortvet. Oh, revenge game for Ben. LOL. White Sox lineup: Mike Roth, Tachman, Vargas, Benintendi, Edgar Quero, Joshua Palacios, Lennon Sosa, Josh Rojas, Michael A. Taylor, green like that. Reds lineup: Friedel, Espinal, Ellie, Hayes, Tyler Stevenson, Spencer Steer, Kevin Lux, Jose Trevino, Will Benson, the home run king. That's good. Rangers lineup came out. Josh Smith in the leadoff spot. Wyatt Langford, Josh Young, Jake Berger, Alejandro Osuna. I think I'm gonna take a minute to go look at this kid. Simeon. Oh, he got so no Haggerty. He might be like a lefty specialist, but Alejandro Osuna, MILB. 279 average, 800 OPS, 9 stolen bases. All right. Well, we are all caught up. So, early slate locks for our projections. Keep an eye on the Orioles situation as far as weather. Otherwise, I will still be here working on keeping lineups updated. And do I want to run a billion lineups tonight? Dude, those fill up so fast. Alright, we might do that. Alright, so that's it for today's breakdown. Tomorrow we're looking like 12, 1. Tomorrow might be split up where we might stream to break down the main slate. Kind of go from there. Early slate will be cracking up early. And then we might actually get to stream on a Thursday, but it's only 4 games. All right, twitter.com/Gundecker. You got anything else for me, man? I appreciate you guys. I'll be around if you got any questions on Twitter or in Discord. You guys are the best. Love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.